Hi, everyone, and good day to you wherever you are and whatever time you are checking on us on this channel. Once again, welcome to the second uh, episode of this series that we started a few days ago. Beyond being a nutrition and dietetics graduate, my name once again is Oluwatosin Leshi, and I have with me this afternoon my colleague, my friend, who is going to introduce himself. But I'll first of all tell us what his name is. His name is Mr. Solomon, by the way, dietitian Solomon Karim. He is going to be our guest for today, and I'm sure he has so many things to share with us. Welcome once again, sir, and I sincerely appreciate you for making time out to join us today out of your busy schedule. Welcome, sir. So, I call you my Oga at the top. So, please tell us about yourself.
All right. Thank you, sir. Good evening, everybody from all over the world where you are hearing me from. My name is Karim Solomon. Uh, Let me start by saying that I am a graduate of nutrition and dietetics. I finished from the University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, in the year 2010. And from there, I proceeded for my internship in the University of Jos Teaching Hospital in the year 2012 and 2013. And I obtained my TOPC certification in 2013, yes. And in the year 2014, I joined the Federal Teaching Hospital, Gombe, where I have been working as a dietitian. And to the glory of God, I started as a dietitian one, and presently I am a principal dietitian in the same institution. I am also, by the grace of God, the National Publicity Secretary of Nutrition Society of Nigeria. I believe some of you would have seen me or also would have discussed with me in person. I am a lover of youth. I am a lover of students. I am also the kind of person who is very busy. I find busyness a hobby, and whatever my hands find doing is what I do. Let me stop there for now. I believe we have a lot to discuss. Thank you.
Yes, that's loaded. All right. I remember very well how I got to know you in the course of our life journey as we were growing up, and then I sincerely happy that seeing you being an established professional in the field of nutrition. Going forward, can you please tell us, sir, how did you get to nutrition and the field of nutrition and dietetics? How? Did you stumble there or what? Tell us about your story.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. You know, there's this common say in the university days. It is either you got an admission to to undertake a course, or you are being given a course.
Mm,
So actually, I am one of those persons that was given nutrition and dietetics as a course to study. The truth of the matter is that even before I got admission, I never knew such course existed. Like I mentioned in my introduction, I am a busy person. So, and I like craft. I wanted being an engineer. As a matter of fact, I think I put in for computer and electrical engineer then. But as God will have it, I was given nutrition and dietetics as a course to study. And after then, I tried all my possible best to leave the field of nutrition. I remember in my second year in school, I went to the then HOD of the department, Professor Olaiwola. I walked up to her that I wanted to change my course, and she gave me an advice. She said she wouldn't ask me not to go, but as far as she's concerned, she feels I can do very great in nutrition.
Well, I think you are lost connectivity there. Okay, so while we wait for him to reconnect back to us, yes, internet connectivity is one of the issues we battle
So
this battle.
immediately I can hear the HOD mathematics. I believe, can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can hear you now.
O- Okay, so I was talking about what happened by journey to nutrition. So my HOD then advised me to stay, but because I was so much interested in engineering and the like, so I wanted going for engineering, but I was told it wouldn't work, so I should choose mathematics. I went to the mathematics department then, and the HOD mathematics told me then that I should consider so many things. And God used that man and my HOD then as pointer to me. Then I agreed. I decided to return to nutrition and dietetics. And since then, one thing about me is that anything I make up my mind to do, immediately I give my all for it. And I started developing interest in nutrition. And before you know it, as a matter of fact, in the same year too, I became class rep in my class. And all through while I stay in school, I was the class rep. And even in my final year, I even became the president of the association then. And like I mentioned, I am a lover of students, lover of youth and the likes. So I found nutrition very interesting. And for as many people that have come in contact with me, corporate students, I always tell them, I said, see, one thing I see this course as nutrition is that I see it as a game, one that you play and you get results. You know, by the time you have a malnourished child presented to you, and you have the responsibility of bringing this child out of malnutrition and making sure that this child is well nourished. It's one thing to bring the child out of malnutrition and to catch the child up also for adequate weight. So all of these things are what I always tell them. You can see it as a game and you proceed with it. And I also mentioned that there are times that you see nutrition as a life-saving course. I went to school just because of two things, just to impact my society and probably to see if I can get some change in my pocket. Because if I check my environment, there will be somebody who has one or two nutrition related diseases that will require my service. So that is just the way I found nutrition a course. And since then, I have to tell you the truth. I have loved nutrition. I love nutrition, and I'll keep loving nutrition. Thank you.
Wow, wow, great. This is very, very interesting. One of the things that came out strongly in what you just shared now is about us always giving our best, our all in whatever we found ourselves or wherever we found ourselves. We should not give excuse that because of one thing or the other, therefore, this is the reason why I am doing what I am doing. I don't have any reason to do well. And another thing that came out strongly from what you have said is that we should not be too quick to call a location to be a wrong place. All right, you found yourself in nutrition, which was not your primary deal, the thing that you really, really wanted for yourself, and you wanted to move on with your life. And then, as the Almighty will have it, by seeking counsel, you were able to get yourself convinced that where you thought is a wrong place apparently could be a right place. And now you have been able to pursue that right position, and you are where you are today. The other third thing that I also brought out strongly from what you have said is about the power of counsel. Power of counsel. You reach out to not just one person, more than one person, who are not just your caliber of people that have gone ahead of you, people that you look up to give you counsel, and you sought wise counsel, and then you're able to make your decision afterwards. So, my friends, as you're listening, I want you to know something very, very profound from what our guests have said so far, and that is the power of counsel, the reason why we should not be too quick to make to conclude that we are in the wrong place, and then being able to give our best and our all in all that we do. That is very, very profound. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. So now you found yourself in nutrition, and then in the field of nutrition and dietetics, and you have moved on, and to the extent that you even became student representative by being a student leader. Now that you have been able to move out of school, can you tell us retrospectively, how did you struggle through school in terms of your academics? Many of us, I can tell you, we struggle because there are other things that distract us. Were there distractions that you had at that time? How did you handle it? What were the lessons that you think you have learned when you're looking back with respect to how you live your life while being a student?
All right, thank you very much, sir. You know, if I look back and ask myself questions around were there challenges also when I was in school? Number one, I would say that there are no challenges that you cannot overcome. It is normal, and I can say categorically, probably because of the kind of background I have. I actually come from a wonderful and glorious family where my dad, the only thing he would want to give you the best education, and his own definition of best education is to buy you mathematics and English textbook. Every other thing, you're on your own. And it is not because he wouldn't want to, but because of the financial strength and the likes. And you can imagine a student of nutrition and dietetics who is taking a strong course in human physiology, diet therapy, and the likes, and you want to get up to date information. You have assignments, you have a lot of things to take care of, but you don't have access to textbook. And it was not like it is nowadays, where there is a free access to internet and the likes. I remember one of the best phones I had then was purchased in the year 2011, and it was a Java phone, not even an Android phone. So you would not say maybe you have a free access to Android and the likes like you have it nowadays. So, but as a student and as a Lagos born, our middle name is Hozu. And when we're in school, we wouldn't have choice but just to look for how to survive and also. I remember the same year too. One of those things I did then in my second year was to announce to my classmates that I would be I would be assisting to help to do registration for students, and just at a token, I think of 200 naira if I am right. And a lot of students, out of 75 of us, I had more than 35 students enrolled for this, asking me to register for them. And imagine, I was able to take care of a lot of things with what I got from that. Not only that, I remember that there are times that we may need to jump from one place to another just because we want to survive. The days of photocopy and the likes, when the average cost of a photocopy is, let's say, 5 naira, and you have to go inside somewhere to meet somebody just to see if the person can reduce maybe 50 kobo for you over a number of copies. So all of these things are what we considered as challenges, and we are able to overcome. In the place of academics, to the glory of God, God helped me. I know that I am not the best, but I thank God because I'm among the few best. So But I remember vividly when we got to third year, the third and fourth year, when we started adding student struggle to our career. I remember categorically in our fourth year then, there was a CAT that I had, and I did not prepare for that test. I went to the hall, I wrote my name and submitted the paper back. And I remember the man saying that, Karim, come here, are you okay? I said, yes, sir. And he said, do you know what you have done? I said, yes, sir. Are you going to submit this like this? I said, sir, I don't know it. What do you want me to do? I will not copy and I will not do masquerade, all those things. And he said, no problem. I wish you all the best in your exam. And I said, no problem, all the best. But to the glory of God, I never cut that course. So I can categorically say that I did not have any challenge when it comes to academics. Then also I know that in my class there are the big boys and big girls. There are the small boys and the small girls. But one thing I was able to do, probably because of maybe my position in the class or my orientation about life, I was able to bring everybody together. The same way I relate with the small is the same way I relate with the big. So I wouldn't categorically say that maybe I have any challenge, but the main thing I know that I was maybe the challenge then was surviving as a student. No money is coming from home. I remember one of those times I asked my mother for pocket money, and she told me that if you don't have money, just come back home. It's not compulsory you go to school. That whatever you want to be, you'll be in life. So these are the things that I feel I had, but I was able to overcome. So I look back after maybe some years after school, and I was able to say, if God could keep me through the school days, then I believe God can do better even nowadays for people. So, but by and large, there were no challenges because we overcome them. Thank you.
Wow. Wow. Great. I mean, the summary of all that you have said now is that whatever challenge that we face as a student, we would definitely overcome. Whether they are obvious challenge or challenges that are not that obvious, we will definitely overcome. We should not allow um, academic challenge or whatever challenge they were facing in school as a student. We should not allow such challenge to overwhelm us to the extent that we will carry the way. There's what we refer to as tsunami where students, because of poor academic performance, many at times it could be due to distraction on the side of the student. It could be due to pressure that the student are also experiencing. It could be due to the fact that the student were unable to even voice out about the challenge they are facing, and then it affects them academically. And the next thing you hear is that they are being advised to withdraw from the university. We refer to it as tsunami. And I mean, we should just be resilient. You talk about a CA that you missed or that you did not prepare for effectively, and you didn't want to compromise your integrity. I pick that. Integrity is very, very key. We should not compromise our integrity, irrespective of whatever challenge that we are facing. We should not tarnish our image at early. Like you can imagine if you are compromised by cheating and you were caught in that act, and you may not be able to say proudly that you you were a student, and now that you're a leader in the society of in the national society of Nigeria, you that could be a dilemma that you'll be battling, but you did not compromise. And I'm sure if that lecturer still remembers you, he will still recognize you for that stand that you had at that time. And more importantly, when you realize that you did not do well in the test, you gave your best to the in the exam to the extent that you did not fail the exam. That's something that I really picked out of there. So we need to also be resilient, resolute that we just have to get our best out of all that we do. Thank you so much, sir. I want to ask a quick question now. We know
Okay.
that many of our colleagues, upon graduation, moved out of the field of nutrition. I remember I personally, while I was serving, I had the opportunity of serving in a bank. And I said, me, I will not go to the bank because if I get to the bank, I will go in, but I will not come out. so, I said I will not. I mean, quite a number of classmates, I'm sure the same experience will be yours as well, that moved out of the field of nutrition upon graduation. But for you, you stayed back. What was your motivation? Why did you stay back after your graduation?
Okay, thank you very much once again. Like I said, I have summarized some of these things in my introduction, so it's just for me to buttress. I mentioned that whatever I found doing, I would do it well. So when during our final year in school, a lot of questions started coming, a lot of things started popping in, like will you settle for this course and the likes. But I was able to answer my own question. I mean, ask myself, then answer myself. I would like to acknowledge the support of a lot of people. You know, I may not be able to mention them all, but I know the likes of Mrs. Akinyemi then, our nutrition and dietetics, our dietetics lecturer then, the way she had always presented herself is something that motivated me. And I said, Kai, I want to be a dietitian too. And I gave myself that word that I will do all my best. So when we finished from school, I know after NYSC, a lot of people, the next question that comes to mind is what next, what next, what next, what next. But I was, uh, I was determined that I was going for this course and I would remain a professional on this field. And I can say categorically, immediately after school, even till now, some people still call me HOC. I think once an HOC is always an HOC. Like asking me questions immediately after we finish school that what is the next thing? What is the way forward? Blah, blah, blah. Questions around that. And I told them there is there is something on ground. Like I don't need to shift ground. I know a lot of my colleagues who immediately diverted to banks, who have gone to different places and the likes. And I know also of some people who got job late. But immediately I picked an internship for. Immediately. As a matter of fact, I got two places at the same time. Then the first place I got was Osun State Ife, and they said we should come for. We went for volunteer because then they've not started paying interns. Because of the passion we had or I had, and myself and another person, we said okay, we'll go as a volunteer, the one that would not be paid. And it was around that same time, not more than 1 month or thereabout. I've not even gone to resume before I got a call to come and resume in Jute. And you know now, since money is involved, you have to prioritize. And
Yeah.
I chose, I chose Jute. So even after internship, you know, we have a lot of persons even outside there who have done internship, but still wouldn't have job yet. But something was just on my mind that I feel the best place I can be useful, being a professional, is in the field of nutrition. If I believe, I don't know if you remember the time that rent money came to existence. Somebody gave me a personal business card to go to Rent Money's head office in Lagos to go and start with them there. I went there and in short, they gave me an interview. I did excellently well to the glory of God. And they asked me to come and resume immediately. And also, as I was going back home, I told myself, this is not what I want. And I did not go back to that place. I've not gotten any job, but I did not go back to that place. So One of those things I know that there is something that is interesting about it. Like I told you from the beginning, the fact that I I am a lifesaver, I am a counselor. I can use food to save lives. That enough was, should I say, is a ministry, is a call that somebody can run with all through his life. And I was patient until I finally got a job here. And also, even after getting job, you know that it's not just getting job and sitting down. There are a lot of things that happen here. You are start asking yourself a question: how will you grow? But I just see favor. Let me use that word. I'm sorry to say I am somebody who likes to acknowledge God, and that is why I've been pointing, because if God has not directed your path, you may not be where you are. So, but I see God always acting, favoring me, and so on and so on. And I can say categorically, even among my colleagues, I can say what I can mention one, two, or three things that I feel God has done for me specially. So that those things are sufficient enough for me to remain in this field of nutrition, and I wouldn't want to go out. Thank you.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you very much, sir. I mean, what you just shared now, they are loaded, but I'll start from the last one, last point, the place of favor, the place of favor. Incidentally, we are people in Nigeria that we believe so much in God, but I know that when you position yourself rightly, then you will definitely be favored in all that you do. And I think from all that you have said now, you were able to pattern your journey in such a way that you find yourself in the right place. You also talked about the place of determination, determination, being determined that you are not going to give up on yourself. You are not going to give up on this decision that you have made to stay back in the field of nutrition. Then you talk about by not sitting down. Don't sit down. All right, friends, please, I encourage you, don't sit down. Our guest talked about the fact that he had to even go to the extent of volunteering. It was in place of volunteering that he got a call to start his internship. That is very, very key. That's very, very key. Volunteer with your time, volunteer with your skills, volunteer with your talent. Then he talked about being useful as part of being about volunteering. When you see yourself as someone that is useful to your immediate environment, definitely when you find yourself quote and unquote jobless because of that nature of yours, definitely you will drive yourself to get yourself engaged in one thing or the other. And I will add this to it: as much as possible, make sure that you are relevant and you remain relevant with the little nutrition knowledge that you have. I repeat again, make sure that you are relevant and you remain relevant with that little knowledge of nutrition and dietetics that you have. Don't see yourself as someone who does not know enough. All right. The enough that you have is sufficient to take you from where you are to wherever the Almighty will destine you to be. Thank you so much, sir, once again for this insight that you're sharing with us. Let me go to another dimension now. You have been a practicing dietitian for long, and I've been quite a number of people have been asking me this question over and over again. How do you become a dietitian in Nigeria? Is a key question, especially our students. They really want to know that how can a student become a practicing dietitian in Nigeria? Can you share insight on this, sir?
How can you become a dietitian in Nigeria? Thank you very much. Number one thing, you have to obtain your first degree in nutrition and dietetics. You know that in any of the higher institutions of learning, either in the university or polytechnic, like we have it in Nigeria, then I would also say not only just going to school to obtain, but showing interest. I think that's the first thing I feel that matters. Be interested, be passionate about it. Then after you have obtained your the the first degree, then you know the next thing is for you to go for your internship. You know, it's understandable that we have more graduates than the capacity, the largest capacity of trainees that we have per year. How do I mean? We have more graduates coming out every year, and our training centers, the internship training centers, are few. And even as few as they are, they have limited number of students, interns that can be taken per time per year. So, but you just have to, and that is why I say that you need to be passionate from the beginning, because I feel something. Life is all about competition. You compete for everything. So, but you are competing with somebody on the other hand. The other person wants to be the winner the same way you want to be the winner. So, whoever will be the winner just have to do something extraordinary. And that is why you just have to put in your best. When you go for maybe the pre internship exam, you need to just do your best to make sure that you are on the merit list. And after you do that, take your internship course for 9 to 12 months, then you go for your exam. After the exam, then you apply to facilities where you can practice as a dietitian. The dietitian necessarily would not work in the hospital. Yes, you're a clinical nutritionist, but you can number one, be in the hospital. You can work with some organizations. In short, there are a lot of things that I remember then. Many of my colleagues, my classmates, then were doing. Many of them were consulting to organizations. Many of them, I remember one of my colleagues too who applied to the Ministry of Sports then to be a sports dietitian and the likes. So I believe all of these things are part of the basics that we are taught in the introduction to nutrition and dietetics. So, but the truth of the matter is, I'm here to tell you that it is real. It is real. So you just identify where you want. Not everybody will work in the hospital, but there are a lot of places where you can work. But you see the ladder, you have to finish one before you go to the next. You cannot become a dietitian just overnight. So you have to move from maybe getting admission into a institution of learning, you graduate, you proceed to your for the internship and the likes and so on. So that is all I can say about that. Thank you.
Wow, wow, great. This is wonderful. You said something that I actually had to kind of reflect over and then also emphasize on it. Don't be ordinary in whatsoever you do. Always add extra to your ordinary, and that's what will make you to be extraordinary. As a dietitian in making, as you are following through the process, because becoming a dietitian follow a pattern, a process that you must follow. All right, as you are in the course of that procedure, in the course of that process, make sure that you always add extra to your ordinary. The only person that can answer the question, what's the extra that I have, is you. Is you. All right. So always add extra to your ordinary. Always add extra to your ordinary. And that's something that can exemplify you, that can stand you out in your career as you're building your career to becoming a practicing dietitian in Nigeria. Once again, Mr. Karim, thank you so much for this insight that you are sharing with us. And then I'm very sure that our dear friends and colleagues and students are also picking one or two things from this insight that you are sharing. So, you have left school, All right, you are working, and now tell us benefit of hindsight on looking back about your process or the process that you follow from being a student to becoming a graduate to becoming a practicing dietitian. Are there kind of regrets? Are there things that you thought there were mixed opportunities that you may think you want to kind of call our attention to so that those of us that are still students will be able to be mindful of that? Are there regrets? Are there mixed opportunities that you felt you did not fully maximize in the course of being a student? Can you just share insight on that if there are any? Hello, are you there? Hello? Okay, I think we are losing him. Internet connectivity. Uh,
Can you hear me now?
yes, we can hear you now.
Okay,
Did you get my
it was the
questions?
network. Okay, asked if there have been any at all in the course of they are my kind of person. I want to be sincere and simple. However, what personal to me may not be the same to everybody. I am the kind of person who is carefree to bother me so much. So it is the only places like in short, I wouldn't say there is any regret say if there's any because any opportunity advantage of it. I have to just say that I take risk taking such risk thing maybe to get job sitting down just asking God this though I didn't wait for only for 1 year but I there is no regret at all and dietitian all along the line on daily basis you see different you there is a level I always get to as I'm talking to you now there is a need because I feel there is some so I need to go to that next level. So can you say there is any I always advise students not to be like not you may be like me in some cases, but you may not also be like me in some cases. I am a kind of person, like I use the word, I am carefree. Some opportunities may come. If I am not interested, I am not interested. I just let it go. If like just I cited an example of my exam, the test I wrote in class. It is just because I was just should I use the word like I feel if I pass, I pass. If I don't pass, I don't pass. So somebody may show extra effort better than myself. I was not the best in my class, like I said to you, but I could have been the best if that part of carefree and the likes was not there. So, but for students, what I can just advise generally is that you need to just as like I mentioned, there are you are more than 1,000 looking for one thing, and that particular thing cannot be given to everybody. So you just must make sure that you have what it takes. So I used some people used to pray for me. Pastors pray. I remember there was a day I was going for a program. Somebody prayed that they said if it is going to be one person that will be needed in that place, then it has to be me. Sorry, we just had a power outage.
Okay,
So
it's
I
fine.
believe you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you. And we can also see you too.
Uh-huh. So if it's going to be one person, then it's got to be me. I said amen. However, there are more to that amen. It means that I have to do extra work.
Mm.
It's a lot of things I have to. So there is no, I wouldn't say there is anything. So what I just always advise people is that just put in your best in all you do and let God see your heart. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for this insight. You talk about being able to take advantage of every opportunity that come our way. Every the opportunity that comes your way, take advantage. So I mean, I'm picking that. If you don't want to have any regrets in your journey as a student, maximize every opportunity that comes your way. Maximize every opportunity that comes your way. Don't delay, act. And then also be real, then be yourself. Be real and be yourself. Know who you are, know your weakness, know your strength, and then don't deceive yourself, right? All right, don't deceive yourself. Don't allow anybody to deceive you, and don't, at the same time, don't deceive yourself. Those things are very, very important. Thank you very much once again for giving this insight on that. And I will encourage you, if you have questions, please feel free to drop your questions and comment on either the YouTube platform or on our Telegram platform. Feel free to drop your question so that we can give room for our guests to respond to your question, as well as give you also share more comment on all these that are being said. Thank you very much, Mr. Karim, for being with us so far. Are you still there, sir?
Yes, I can hear you very well.
All
Yes.
right. So the other question I would like to ask you now, we actually lost your video footage, but it's fine. We can hear you. That's the most important thing. The other question I would like to ask you has to do with something very, very key, and that is you're a man and you're a dietitian. I've been kind of accused, if I can use that word, over time that why is it that it's only I bring more of female the to the program, to our engagements for all this while. Of course, I gave them the response to that, but I want you to give us insight. What does it take to be a male dietitian in Nigeria? How did you cross the hurdle? I'm sure you it will perhaps be 1:10 or so. How did you cross the hurdle? How do you manage that reality of that gender balance? Being a male dietitian, what can you say to inspire other young uh, students that are of male gender? What can you say to in that regards?
So thank you very much. I I okay. I
I'm
just
sorry.
cannot
I'm sorry. I have to put you on the spot.
I just cannot imagine uh, 7 men out of 75 students in a class. The rest are ladies. And being the class rep means a lot, not a woman and not a man. And for all the times that we have had meetings, conferences, you know how these women used to be more even than the men. So we even at some point we should I say we were humiliated. A lot of our colleagues then in school or growing up, we say you are practicing a woman cause and so on and so on and so on. Plus the fact that they call nutrition is cooks. So, but what will I say? How are we able to overcome all of these things? Oh, I feel strongly that I just, if you call me woman rapper, I accept. You call me man woman, yes, I say no problem because of the interest I found in this course. Now, most of these persons that are feeling uncomfortable, you need to understand that nutrition is not necessarily a woman's cause. It is not. You are, when you are consulting or when you are counseling, you are dealing with both male and female. And I don't see anything unique, or anything that is ascribing this uniquely to a woman. But rather, I feel it's a general cause that everybody can take. So, to the man out there who is feeling inferior because you are like 1 to 10 you are in the ratio of 1 to 10 in the class, I'm encouraging you, please go for the gold. If you can hear me, go
Mm.
for the gold. You are just the field of nutrition is for everybody. As we can see, the current president of Nutrition Society of Nigeria is a man. The past president also that handed over to the current president also a man. We have had men in the affairs of nutrition also, like we have had women. So if you're a man out there, you want to practice this noble profession and you are feeling inferior, please uh, eliminate that from your mind and go for the best. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much for this. I think I can just summarize it by saying that let your interest and your passion differentiate you as a nutritionist or a practicing dietitian. I repeat again, let your interest and your passion differentiate you as a nutritionist or dietitian. It is very, very key. We will not look at the place of gender, rather, we look at professionalism, and that is key. Even though we obviously have more female gender in the society or in the profession than the male gender, nevertheless, the men also have their own role to play, but they should not withdraw themselves because of the fact that this seems to be the minority. That is very, very key. And I really want you to take note of that. If a man out there listening to me, please be mindful of this truth that just been shared. So let's move ahead, sir. You are the publicity secretary, all right, of the our prestigious Nutrition Society of Nigeria. You actually our father, part of the father and the mother that have given birth to us, the children. You are controlling, or you are the one that is in charge of our affairs. Thank you so much for being there for us and also being able to show to us that we, the younger one, the student, have a say in the society. So, being a publicity secretary of this highly esteemed profession, how did you get there? What brought you to this level?
Okay, thank you very much. Let me start by saying that we we agreed, or let me say, growing up and when we were in school, I actually also added to my CV the fact that I like to volunteer. I am somebody who likes to anything that has to do with computer, sha. Let me just put it that way. So from the very first day I started attending NSN conferences, I think dated far back to 2009 on those states. I was always asking myself, what could I do? 2010, we were at Kaduna, even as students. So 2012, basically, I decided to not only that I am coming for conference, but I asked myself a question: what can I do just to add color to the success of the whole program? And over and over, so I found myself functioning in this area. And for as many that have been following NSN conference year in, year out, you will always see one man on the system, who is always taking care of the slides and the likes. All these things I did just as I just love to do, just for the interest of it, not because I had anything in mind. So I volunteered in that area. You cannot imagine that no matter where the conference would hold each year, I can say between 2013 up to date, the only time I did not attend the NSN conference was 2018, and it was with a reason. So, but every year as I go for conferences, the NSN conference, I am always seeing myself working in this area. And so when the when the should I say opportunity comes, or when it is time, when the time was ripe for me to go to the level of, should I say, active involvement, then the opportunity was served to me. So I was called to be part of the the team, should I say, of national executives in the year 2020. And then I can say between then and now, there are a lot of things that I want to say just to encourage somebody there. I want you to know that every little thing that you are doing, you may feel nobody is seeing you, but you are being watched. You are being watched. And then when the world needs you, or when the people need that kind of thing, that good thing you are doing, they will look for you.
Hmm.
They will definitely look for you. So I am encouraging you, no matter how small you feel you can. I was discussing with some of the students, some of the students during the conference, and I was just trying to encourage them. There are a lot of things that you can do actually. So you are the one that would find. And let me put this also, I wasn't invited. I was not waiting for them to call me. I was not waiting for a call for volunteering and the likes. I found a loophole, and I said I was going to occupy it. I was going to fill it up
Hmm.
with nothing in return. And to the
Wow.
glory of God, I can say that has fetched me this
Hmm.
this position. Thank you.
Wow, wow, wow. This is great. Thank you so, so much for this. I will just quickly talk about the last point that you made mention of, which is very, very critical. I remember um, somebody calling my attention to something sometimes ago and said, they saw this thing that you're trying to do, but I mean, they were giving reason why some things were not done well. And I said, well, if you see it as something that is not well done, can you just volunteer yourself to do the right thing, to do the needful? In other words, we have a generation of people, a crop of students that they can easily spot the error, they can easily
Error.
spot the problem, but they are nowhere to address the problem. Can I tell you one truth, my dear friends, today? And that is very key. If you have not taken anything out of this engagement, out of this conversation with Mr. Solomon, one key thing I want to take out of this meeting, this engagement, is that your ability to see a problem, your ability to spot a problem shows that you have the potential to solve the problem. If you are someone that can easily found an error in something, things that is not being well done, it shows that the potential to address that problem is in you. All you just need to do is to step out and help out. Again, step out and help out.
Out.
Don't
I like that.
continue to make complaints. Don't continue to lament. Don't continue to be saying they did not do it very well. If you have found that they did not do it well, for you to have known that it was not done well, it shows that you can actually help to be part of the solution to the problem. I mean, that is very, very key. And then let your presence be felt wherever you are. It's just similar to what I just said now. Wherever you find yourself, let your presence be felt. Let them know that you are there. Let your presence, let your giftings be known. What is your gift? What are your talents? What is it that you can do effortlessly? Use that to support any social cultural or social environment or academic environment that you find yourself. Make sure you contribute your quota with your gifting and with your talents. I mean, that question, that thought I just shared will lead me to this question, Mr. Solomon. I know that you are a photographer. I know that you love photography. That I know. Tell us about your adventure into photography, and then how do you think is kind of linked to some of these things that we're talking about?
Okay, thank you very much, sir. I would also like to say that I was born into photography. My mother is a photographer, although the analog, in the days of the analog, but if she still handles a digital camera, now we are the one teaching them.
Hmm,
Then my father used to be a video man, a video man. So I just had this passion for photography, and I will just say by summary that I've not really reached where I am going. I've not even started at all. I've not started. I still have a lot of ways, a very far range of ways to go. However, what I do, one of those things I do is that I let me just bring them together: multimedia, ICT, and the likes.
hmm,
These things are just like a, should I say, inborn passion.
hmm,
So with that, even if you don't call me, like it was because I was busy this year. And if people that are with me during the conference, if they have drawn closer, you will have seen my camera on the table. So I work with it. So every now and then. So I give myself also in this area. I I I snap, I video cover, I arrange for events.
hmm,
You understand? So if you call me for service, I will charge you. That one is normal, but there is the part of the voluntary I do. So,
hmm,
and I also want to say that I said between 2013 and 2014, before I got a job, that I was just busy with a photograph. I
hmm,
went back to Abeokuta. I finished from Abeokuta. I went back to Abeokuta, and I was just at least moving. I remember I used my church then. Then one or two persons that knew me, I would be going about maybe at least engage them at a ceremonies program. At least I was doing that before I got the job. Now I also want to say that, do you know that I am still a photographer now? You already mentioned that. You said I am a photographer. Yes. Now the fact that I am gainfully employed. I work as a dietitian. Does not stop me from being my a professional still in the area of the photography. As a matter of fact, last year January I still paid for training just because I want to know more. And as I'm talking to you, every opportunity that is served to me to learn photography, I learn. I go to YouTube, do different things. This traveling I had recently, I use the privilege also to still go to places where we buy our gadgets, to still go ask for what is trending, and I still buy it and I'm using some of them. So I have been a photographer, and now all of these things now, multimedia services generally now, should I use the word, gives me extra. Should I, if I say extra earning, it means that maybe I'm getting little from it. No, that is an understatement.
Hmm.
Every time I go out for an event, the truth of the matter is that I can make my salary in one day.
Hmm.
I can
Wow.
make my salary in one day. And perhaps, if not up to that, let's just say I can make on average a third to half of my salary for every time I had a good show. And that on its own is sufficient even to take care of me. So, what am I trying to say from all of these stories now is that as young men and women out there, I like to say that we are all expecting.
Wow. Wow, we lost him there. I think he's going to join us back. Let's just give him a few seconds to share that with us. Let's just give him a few seconds to join us back. But while we are waiting for him, I'll quickly would like to mention some of those things or reiterate some of those things that he made mention of. And that is more or less saying a man's way, rather, a man's giftings will make way for him. A man's giftings will make way for him. Don't look down on what your passion or whatever your passion is. Don't look down on yourself. Do personal development. If your hobby is to talk, then develop yourself in that area of talking. If your hobby is to be a photographer, is to take photographs, develop yourself in that regard. If your hobby is fashion designing, do it. I remember I used to have a student who happened to be a model. I mean, what she loves to do is to model. I mean, she has all the characteristics of a model. She was encouraged to do it, and then she moved on with her life, and I believe she's doing fantastically well. I also know of a student that also passed through my tutelage, whose passion is theater, drama. Well, this lady is doing fantastically well now in filmmaking. She's not eating with nutrition or dietetics. Rather, what is fetching money for her is those things that she's passionate about. You heard Mr. Solomon talking about the fact that at times on one outing, one event, he often gets almost his salary, at times more than his salary that he had every month. That is, I would like to use his word. He said it will be an understatement for him to say that he's getting less or equate to what his salary are. Rather, he's even getting almost more than his monthly earning. That is very, very key. That is very, very key. We have him back, and I think we should just allow him to finish his thought. Sir, welcome back again. I understand that we had issue with network. It's Nigeria, so we are used to it, Nigeria. So I would really, really want you to really emphasize on what you are saying about a man's giftings making ways for him. I believe that's the line of thought we're trying to talk about. Can you just
Yes, sir.
use that as a word of advice to our dear
Okay.
students?
All right. Thank you very much. So, like I was saying, so I know I don't need to stress myself around. I don't need to stress myself around salary not being enough and so on and so on. Because even if you ask people, even that are earning more than times 10 of what I earn, they still have need, and it's not always enough. But now, I want to tell, should I say, the students or the graduates out there that are still waiting for what government can do. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that the government will not provide, but I want to tell you the truth that you may not necessarily need to wait for what the society will give to you. But I ask a question: what can you do with your hands? What can you do with your hands? If you can sew, then the knowledge of the fact that you are a graduate or you are a school student should help you orientate yourself on how you can sell yourself. So enough of we are students, we finished, we don't have this, we don't have that. The truth of the matter is that we may end up complaining all through until one day we just settle for anything. But however, what is that thing that you can do? You know, it's funny. Just this afternoon, I was discussing with some of my friends, sorry, some of my coppers, and I was asking them, can you operate a computer? In this 21st century, these coppers could not operate or cannot operate a computer system. And I asked question, and you call yourself a graduate, and you are a graduate, not even you call yourself, and you are a graduate. And they said yes. So there are some things that you acquire by birth. There are some things that you will acquire by learning. There are some things that you have to develop yourself on. But all of these things work together to make you the who you are supposed to be. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say,
Yes, sir.
but all of these things they come together to make who you are supposed to be. There's something that you are actually doing that it's unique only to you, and the way you do it, some people like it specially. But I don't know. We are afraid we bury some of these things. We feel maybe we are not getting support from our environment, or we feel until we get jobs, they will now raise funds. Then before we can do those business, you may be thinking right in the wrong way. So what am I trying to say in nutshell is that you can start developing yourself. Like I just gave an example of when I was in the school. When I was in the school, I was from my year two, I was already doing some of these things that later become side hustle for me, that is fetching better income. I was doing such things then. I would go to this, I would go from one class to other. I those are those things I've been doing. And also, let me also emphasize this, that you need to know the kind of people you work with. Permit me to say this. You need to know the kind of people you work with, people that will motivate you and encourage you to help you be the person who you are. I remember during my NYC year, I served in Yobe State. People complain a lot, this, that. And I also wanted to join the team to complain. And somebody who was a photographer then was using all this Olympus camera. Many of you know this kind of cameras. And he asked me to just help him snap. I collected it, just the usual volunteering act of mine. I collected and I snapped, and he saw what I snapped. I said, wow, so you're a photographer. Please. He was a batch C passing out, and I just came in. And he said he was going to hand over that business to me. And I started doing it. And all through, when people are complaining of casting down in that area, I was busy enjoying myself
Hmm.
because apologies, please. So we
Yes,
have
we
a usual
understand.
number in Nigeria. So I believe you understand what I am talking about.
Yes.
So please, I am telling most students this. See, um, somebody said if you hear another person's story, you will go and sit down and you will rethink about yourself. I'm not in any way saying that maybe it's bad for everybody, but the truth of the matter is that what we are expecting from the nation, from the society, don't be surprised that the society is actually expecting such from you.
Hmm.
And you are making a mistake by waiting on the society before you take your next step.
Hmm.
So as a nutritionist, as a dietitian, you need to look beyond what you feel you can be as a professional.
Yeah.
As I am now, there's something I'm even looking out for. I want to see if I can how I can relate multimedia into nutrition. I was discussing with Professor Olaiwola sometimes ago, and she mentioned that look at in the mass media world, many of you read information and see how life is. Many of us we go to internet to go and prepare our assignment online. You just go to one particular website, you don't know who have written what is there, and you begin to rely on what somebody who is not a nutritionist is writing.
mm,
Whereas you are there, you are good when it comes to writing,
mm,
you are good when it comes to some of these things, but you are not developing it. You are busy waiting for somebody that will give you job before you now start thinking of. So why don't you start from there? Why don't you begin to look towards what you can do? And I always say this, any of my coppers or whoever that pass through me, I always tell them, you have always gone to school, you have only gone to school to go and open up your brain.
mm,
Just to go and open up your brain to go and answer yourself some questions. What can you do to
mm,
make yourself relevant?
mm.
So thank you, so that I will not take most of our
All right.
time.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate you for these remarks that you have shared with us, and then we are very grateful once again that we have you and you have shared from the wealth of your experience. And we believe strongly that anytime we call on you once again, you are going to respond to us on behalf of course, on behalf of Nutrition Society of Nigeria. I'm also saying thank you once again for being there and for also sharing your time with us. The past 1 hour has been so full of insight, so full of insight. And I'm sure that students will come over to check on all this conversation over and over and over again. And I'm sure anytime we call on you once again, you're going to respond to us. Anytime we share our question with you, you're going to respond to us. And of
Yes,
course, if there are opportunities for students within your territory, I'm sure that you're also going to share such opportunities with us. Once again,
yes,
Mr. Solomon Karim, thank you again for your time. One of the profound things that you said that I picked is that what you can do in life is a factor of your acquired knowledge as well as your acquired we acquire knowledge, then we acquire you say we acquire knowledge by birth, we
by
also
birth,
acquire knowledge by learning, and
by
these
learning.
two are key factors to what we can do in life. In other words, what we can do in life is a function of the knowledge that we acquire by birth, which is our gifting, which we need to develop upon, as well as the knowledge that we acquire by learning. These are the things that we deliberately work on ourselves. That is very profound. Thank you so much once again. I sincerely appreciate you. I'm
Thank you
sure
so
that
much.
you're going to say send our women's greetings to our dear friends over there in Gombe State. And if there's any one of us that goes to Gombe, or maybe you're passing through Gombe, you're going to Bauchi and you're passing through Gombe, or you are going to uh,
No, it's Bauchi before Gombe. If you are
okay,
going to
Adamawa,
Adamawa,
rather, you're going
you
to
are going
Adamawa and you're
to
passing through
Borno
Gombe.
State, if you are going to
Mm.
Yobe State.
Yes, or you're going to Yobe State, you're passing through Gombe. Definitely, we'll call on you and we'll say we are passing through
Okay.
Gombe and we're saying hello to you. Thank you again, once again, Mr. Solomon. And then, my dear friends, thank you once again for joining us. We still have another episode coming up tomorrow where we are bringing in a fashion icon, a nutritionist turned a fashion icon. I'm sure that she's going to share a few things with us. So, thank you once again for your time, and I'll say bye, bye for now. All right, sir. Thanks so much again. Bye, sir.